so aesthetic! But wait, it'll be awfully painful to pick a rank for each one of them. Yikes. I like them all equal. Oh well. How about just a list of 10 favorite characters? No particular order or rank or anything of that nature. So let's begin. Number 1, Madlax. This girl is just one step above any normal gun-wielding girl in the girls with guns genre. Why? It doesn't take a dummy to fire a gun. And it takes practice to aim with precision, but she also has this strange nuance when she also dodges bullets with not much effort at all. And she also wears a cocktail dress which gives such a, I don't know, like she's a dainty little flower in a battlefield. She also seems to dance when she's under fire, something a normal person couldn't do because they'd be running for cover behind something sturdy. Strange yet so indescribable. Top it off with an almost natural gun handling talent, a cloudy past, and you got yourself something wonderful. Second person is Lina Inverse of the Slayers franchise. Quick-witted, a softie, a vicious motherly type. What more can you ask for? This rat is a self-proclaimed sorcery prodigy, and she can prove it. She's also so powerful. So much so, she never wanted to use a very particular spell called Giga Slave. One wrong move might supposedly send the world into the sea of chaos, but she had to use it on several occasions and lucked out. Closest she's got to being out for good was in Slayers Next, which she went against Hellmaster Fabrizzo and did a Giga Slave out of fury or remorse. That failed, and instead of sending the world into chaos and ending her life, she, well, let me explain. The Giga Slave doesn't just summon the power of this entity called the Lord of Nightmares. It downright summons the entire Lord into one's body. And if the spell fails or she fails, the Lord of Nightmares takes over.
She sacrificed all that she was in order to save that man's life. The human called Gallery.
It's a very big risk. But she only does this out of love and care. And if she does a wrong to Blade with no chance on a sick killer, that shows you she really cares. Number 3 is Saeko Busujima. Question: can you really be afraid of yourself? She does. This high school of the dead girl was a Kindle Club president prior to the zombie outbreak, and she is highly skilled too. Very skilled and very possessive.
That's who I am. Can't you see?
You may not notice right away, but when she strikes, she begins to get very turned on by her power. She's strong and she knows that taking out enemies without so much of questioning makes her very horny and out of control. She knows of this way before the outbreak, when a man tried to molest her and she went a little overboard. Well, mentioning this story sends her overboard. Such a harsh past would later prevent her from accepting any love. But Takashi did, and she continued to slice and dice any zombie that begs to differ. Number 4, Mami Tomoe. This Puella Magi has had a rough and Puella Magi Magica Magica, but she's still shone bright in the time she spent alive and well. An admiral fighter of justice, but also has a nice gist of wisdom too. I kinda like that. She's also the one who insisted that Monica take her time to think of that one wish to fulfill a contract with the fuzzy little furball here at Cubey in order to become a magical girl. She was perfectly fine about not knowing those dark details of being a magical girl, and most of you do know what I'm talking about. The sick, twisted details. She was quite a stir in the time she appeared, shooting out magical bullets and doing with such a flair that makes Monica envy her a tad bit. And for good reason. With a kicking theme to her, composed by Yuka Kajira, the gal who done the soundtracks to the B-Train's Guns with Girls trilogy, including Madlax, she's the one that might have been able to avoid her fate just by doing what she has done before. And, well, not wind up a basket case. Our next girl is Signum. No question, sword wielders are tough people, as Saeko demonstrated. But a sword wielder with a magic, that's a whole different caliber altogether. added alien mistress who is able to grant her and others like her a happy and peaceful life, and a quest to help said mistress. That's pretty much Signum in a nutshell. She has so much sides to her, it's just stunning. A devoted side, a tsundere side, a tender side, a yandere side. Lost track of all those sides, but there's so much of her. Too bad she got busted out by Nanawa later on in Strikers, Force, and the Vivid manga. But there's always dojins. Here's our next girl, number 6 Lucy, the undisputed queen of a tragic lifestyle of mass slaughtering and being rejected for being different. Only one guy was close enough to be her love interest, but boy did that turn fucking well. After being ridiculed by being a diclonist at an orphanage she was in, and also being betrayed time and again by either the main man, Kota, or others, it would only be a short, sweet time before she sends hell to people and others like her would follow suit. Her alter ego, Yu, serves the cute side of her, while the main girl, Lucy, is the rest of her. Emotional, merciless, blind devotion. I could go on and on and on. Here's our next girl, Makina Hoshimura. If I just tell you before you saw this anime that is the same girl who did Margaret Burton of Madlax, Princess Tutu, and for one OVA, Amelia of Slayers, you find it hard to believe this girl voiced Makina Hoshimura, a vengeful Shikabane Hime who eradicates stubborn corpses with attachments to this world. But hearing this piece of dialogue,
Disappear! Get out of my sight! And out of my memories! Leave this world!
you'd be amazed. This girl's one hell of a psychopathic bitch, and she has to. This group of really rogue corpses killed their family all because of some rogue Buddhist monk who thinks he knows what he's doing. She wants revenge so bad she became a living corpse herself, and became a special corpse under the Kogan sect of Buddhism. These little special Shikabane, as they're called, kills off other corpses that prey on humanity. This specialty is the Shikabane Hime, and with her family death, and halfway through the series, the death of her closest pal and handling monk, stay away from her. 8 is a recent entry. Satella El Bridget, the untouchable queen of West Genetics Academy in the anime Freezy, and still so, with the exception of a guy named Aoi Kazuya. She's been dethroned of her higher ranks at the end of the school-wide fighting carnival, but she still finds fights around every corner by higher-ups, all because she fought back at the first ranked for touching her and for being such a boasting bitch. Would you? So a bunch of higher-up students are now trying to make her submit to their ranks, subdue her. But she doesn't want to lose to anyone. Even a bunch of arrogant bitches who can't even get it through her head, she's not to be taken lightly. I mean, my god. Even her boobs are a potential threat. Number 9 is R, from the same anime franchise as Signum, a wolf-based familiar of second main lead Fate. Very strong familiar, she's gotta be. Some of her strength comes from her loyalty to Fate. And Fate alone. Ain't that a nice little devotion? Some of her strength also comes from her hatred to Fate's mother, Precia Testarossa. And on one occasion, she demonstrates the latter straight onto her. Trust me, any form she takes, her bite is worse than her bark.
How could you treat your daughter like that? How could you be so heartless? She's always been so good to you, and she's doing her best to make you happy now. How can you treat her so cruelly? She doesn't deserve it!
And lastly, Masane Amaha. This recent witch blade bearer has more on her than a pair of knockers were dying to feel. She got the trouble of her daughter Ryoko being taken away, trying to raise money so that the said daughter wouldn't be raised into the streets. And in fact, she doesn't remember her childhood, her birth to Ryoko, or much of anything prior to the Great Tokyo Quake that sent most of the city underwater. So to ensure a secure future for Ryoko and to purge on, she battles with sadistic clones and rogue machines, while she's trying to figure out what the hell's going on between those. And that's pretty much it, my 10 favorite anime characters. Thank you!